All right, I think we're live now. I wanted to take a moment and say hello. We have a special edition of Hot Jobs this week. Normally it's a combination of our recruiting team and talking about some opportunities, but this time it's specific to one company, and I'm sure you've seen the news. We've been talking about it all week. It's Workforce Insight, and I wanted to take the time to thank people in advance for being here. We have a couple people from Workforce Insight, including a currently transitioning service member in a SkillBridge internship with Workforce Insight. And so we're kind of here today to kind of give you a deep dive onto what this opportunity is, who Workforce Insight is, and what a service member can look to achieve through a SkillBridge internship with them. So if you have a moment, in the comments, let us know where you're hailing from, where are you watching us from, and what service are you in. And while you're doing that, we'll take the time to introduce ourselves. So I am Paul. I am the Director of Account Management at Higher Military and Army veteran located in Ohio. And we'll go to Brandy and just go around.
Hey, thanks, Paul. So I'm Brandy. I'm the SkillBridge recruiter at Higher Military. So SkillBridge questions come to me. So I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest in the Seattle area. It's good to meet everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you. Mindy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mindy Morley. I'm VP of Learning and Development here at Workforce Insight. Happy to be here.
All right. And last but not least, Nathaniel.
You doing? I'm Nathaniel Thomas, current SkillBridge intern and retiring U.S. Army soldier.
All right. Glad to have everybody aboard again. And once again, thank you for your time. And we'll get rocking and rolling here. We'll start with Mindy. If you could tell us about Workforce Insight, obviously now part of Accenture, big news, and what the world of workforce management looks like and what you do.
Sure. So I think workforce management isn't a common term or industry to most individuals. So workforce management, or WFM, really encompasses all of the activities needed to maintain a productive workforce. So a strategy may include things like scheduling, forecasting, skills management, and the big ones like timekeeping and attendance. So WFI, a part of Accenture, we are a huge partner of Ultimate Kronos Group, or UKG. You've probably heard of the UKG before. We're one of their largest partners. And what we do is we implement UKG's applications for our clients. So we implement the application to meet their needs. And besides implementation services, we have a huge strategic practice here as well. And the strategic practice, they really work with clients to optimize their process or standardize their processes, which ultimately affects the software side of it. So then we get re-engaged on the other side to make modifications to the software.
That's awesome. And so I think it's a blend of a couple different areas of expertise. I see in here consulting and project management, and obviously tech savviness and the ability to use technology and even programming and coding. So that's very interesting. And that's the way I think we've kind of positioned it to SkillBridge interns, potential candidates, is this is a great opportunity to kind of flex different muscles that you've gained while serving in the military. And to that end, Nate, you're a current cohort member, transitioning service member. What attracted you to do SkillBridge in the first place?
So the SkillBridge, as we transition from the military, there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety about what our next steps are. And we go through our transition assistance programs and LinkedIn and reach out and get all this advice and knowledge from different people. But SkillBridge kind of gives you an opportunity to take all that and put it into practical exercise, basically. What if I could take all this transition information I'm given and be able to actually put it into the civilian workforce and see how successful it is and where I may need to adjust as I go along. And I get to do that before my ending term of service.
Absolutely. I think it's a great way for you to have the chance to see what the civilian workforce looks like. Depending on your amount of service, you might have not been in the civilian workforce for a while. And not only that, but you get a culture check, right? You get to check out the company, network with senior leaders within the company, and really check out what this would mean for you as a civilian in terms of your career. So excellent opportunity. I know while I was in, SkillBridge was not a thing. It didn't exist. So transition was sort of just sort of an unknown. And I decided to go to GI Bill route and go to college. But yeah, if the SkillBridge was around when I was in, I would have definitely utilized it. So just wanted to point that out there. Mindy, you mentioned that Workforce Insight is now part of Accenture. And I know that's a huge bump to your company. How does that shift into that? Like, what does that mean for your company and for future cohorts?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So joining Accenture has really opened many doors for the academy candidates. Upward mobility and, in the industry and at WFI was always fantastic. There's so much room for growth just in general. But being part of Accenture has really opened up even more doors and more opportunity for our candidates and graduates. For example, our global presence has increased. So we're working with a lot of global clients now. We were before as well, but that's really opened up a lot too. And then, of course, the type and size of clients and prospects has really changed because Accenture focuses on the largest organizations with potentially other applications. That brings us in to work with them from a WFM perspective. So, and the two joining together really creates a workforce management practice that's probably the largest around.
Absolutely. And I would presume that the tempo for consultants probably wasn't, lacking demand or the number of clients. And now that you're part of Accenture, it's probably only going to continue to increase in terms of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, so we've had a bunch of interest in this position. We've had several cohorts in the past when recruiting these candidates. We've really looked for people interested in the consulting world and have various backgrounds and lengths of service. And I want to turn to Brandy real quick. What type of soft skills, education, experience are you looking for in an ideal candidate when you're recruiting?
So first and foremost, we're looking for service members who are tech savvy and have that solid foundation of customer service and business communication skills. I want to say for this cohort, we're looking at January 24th. So you need to have that availability, to be able to take part in this one that I'm currently recruiting for. So we're looking for service members with training and experience as instructors or recruiters, those with experience with personnel, leadership backgrounds, aspiring HR specialist, program manager, like you mentioned before, intelligence analyst. There is a preference for a degree for someone with computer science, mathematics, or business, but correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not required. So, but we are looking for someone that is tech savvy. You learn software quickly. You pick up things, processes, tracking, improvement along those lines. You're a person who can use technology to its best and learn new stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think because of the I don't know if custom's the perfect word for it, but you're meeting with a client and they have very specific business needs. And so you can't take just the foundation of the software. You have to create a custom solution for them. So you have to have the ability to not only be a subject matter expert with the core technology, but you have to kind of identify, hey, this is how they can best utilize and implement this technology. So yeah, being able to pick up technology and be tech savvy would be obviously number one. So back to Nate, I want to talk more about what about Workforce Insight specifically excited you, and why did you end up applying for this SkillBridge in particular?
So what attracted me to this particular SkillBridge opportunity was a chance to kind of reinvent myself. As I was moving out of the military, I wanted to choose a different career path than what I had done for the last 20 years. And Workforce Insight just kind of aligned with those goals, and in the terms of it was teaching you a skill set, an opportunity to learn a brand new skill set in an area that's in very high demand and is only, continuing to grow. And I loved the idea of their academy concept. Let's take that raw talent that we come with as veterans, or that we've learned over our years with experience, and let's take that and turn them into solutions consultants, what we need them to be. And that's really what I very much like, that approach to it. It made me feel, I guess for anything else, just kind of reassured in the process that there wasn't going to be, kind of, I'm out there and I've got to know things on day one. I'm going to be able to learn. I'm going to be able to practice. I'm going to be able to grow, and I'm going to be able to learn as I go along in the process.
Sure. Well, and as a quick follow-up, did you foresee this kind of opportunity? Did you see yourself in doing what you're doing now at all? Or was this like kind of something that was presented and you're like, hey, I can do this?
So no, to be honest, it was a little different. I initially got out looking for HR type positions. That's kind of what I had done my degree in. And this was, I guess, in that realm in a very general sense, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. But I'm still very excited that I kept an open mind to something. And as I've gone through this academy, I've been very happy that I made that decision.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one strength of this internship in particular is that you can come from most disciplines and be, as long as you're coachable, be turned into a great solutions consultant. And then the other strength is how remote focused this position is. You start in the cohort from any location. Once you're full time, yes, there's some travel involved, but you can return back to your remote position. Those are two great strengths of this role. All right, so back to Mindy. We know what Brandy's looking for in terms of the candidate. What about once they interview with you? What do you look for in a candidate? What kind of signs are you trying to pick up in your conversation with a potential cohort member?
I think everything, of course, that Brandy's looking for, same that we are looking for. But in addition to that, this industry and UKG in general is always evolving. So we're really looking for candidates that consider themselves lifelong learners, those resources who really enjoy and thrive in a world of learning and change. Because with the software and UKG specifically, there's a lot of changes happening. There's a lot of versions coming out, always updating, always improving the software. And so you would never feel stagnant in this role, because you're going to be learning throughout your career. I've been in this industry for over 20 years, and I could tell you, I learn something new every day about UKG software. It's just always evolving. So we really like those resources who love to learn and can consistently be challenged with that. And we also like, with that, adaptability, right? Because you kind of have to roll with the punches sometimes with the different changes and things in the software and different clients and attributes like that. So adaptability is one thing that's really important. And of course, working in a fast-paced space, somebody that can keep up with that and learning the software quickly is very important.
Sure. Well, I'm sure when a new edition of the software comes out, it might not change everything, but you have to sit there and think about, okay, well, how does this change what I'm telling this company, right? And how does that change how I implement that with the company? Do you want to touch on? Do you want to touch on, like, give us an example of how a company takes what's given them at the beginning and then transformed with their business needs, and maybe how one of these cohort members, once they're graduated, will help in that regard?
Sure. So the solution consultant plays a key role in the implementation of the technology. They meet with the clients early on in the project. They have to gather the requirements from the client so that we know what needs to be automated for them. And then they have to kind of interpret those requirements into the actual software configuration. So they have to be really good with customer service, just like Brandy mentioned, because they're working directly with clients all the time. Patience, obviously, because our clients don't necessarily know the back end system. So they have to gather those requirements, interpret them, and then configure them in the software. And then, of course, the expectation is that they were all interpreted correctly and the software performs as designed. So the role is really important in the overall project.
Sure. Well, and I think that kind of alludes to one thing I was going to point out anyways, is that it's not just a quick relationship with each client, right? You're working with them day in and day out, and it's a longer term type of relationship. So
yeah, I refer to that as being sticky. We want to do such a great job and exceed expectations with all of our clients so that we're sticky, so that 6 months down the road, if they want to implement another module or they want to optimize something, the first company they're going to think about is us.
That's awesome.
Be their partner. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Okay, well, let's transition that to Nate then. I'm sort of following this thread here a little bit. As a cohort member, walk us through a day. Like, what are you learning day to day, and what are your meetings look like, and what's your next steps?
Absolutely. So as a cohort member, first thing to understand is this really is a full-time job while you're doing this. There's a lot of information you have to learn, a lot of information to process. Normal day is a lot of online self-paced training. You're learning a lot about the Kronos workforce software and all the different capabilities and all the building blocks to begin configuring those things that the customer wants. The good part about that is as you get through that, it's not just we're going to show you a bunch of things and you should know them. You get a lot of hands-on practice too in virtual environments or tenants where you get to go in and actually configure these rules or these policies and see them in actual practice so that okay, I have confidence. Not only did I learn this, I know how to do it correctly. We're on Microsoft Teams a lot. You're in constant contact with your entire cohort, to include also Mindy and anybody else involved in the academy is always just, a click away. So we're always there to bounce ideas off each other. Hey, I don't understand this. Does somebody else maybe understand this better than I do? Hey, I'm a little lost. And nobody is there to put anybody down. It's been such a helpful group. It's amazing. It seems like the smallest thing, you're going to have 10 answers within 5 minutes.
That's good.
Even at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday.
That's awesome. Well, and I think having everybody from the military in one way or the other, right? It doesn't matter what branch, but being all from the same element of service, right? You all want to help each other and grow together. So that's another great aspect of it.
Absolutely. Cool
deal. All right. Brandy, what is the best way for somebody that's interested? What's involved in the application process, and what does the interview process look like?
So for someone that's interested and they want to apply for this position, I see Kate's in our comments right now, sending out the link. It's apply through the Hire Military site right now. What will happen then is you do your application, and then we are actually doing a screening through Hire Military. We want to talk to you about the position, see your fit, and go from there. We're going to do a resume review. And then once we do all that, it is the application through the WFI link that we have that we will give you. So, we're not trying to micromanage the process, but we will make sure that you hit all the steps and that you're fully prepared for when you go to WFI for those interviews, which happens, after you apply. Someone from some WFI will reach out to you and have that initial conversation and, go from there. There are a couple steps, but I think it's totally worth it. So, but definitely that first step is applying on Hire Military. And then one of the recruiting team will reach out to you. We're going to ask you to set up a invite. We'll send you an invite to set up a time on our calendar so we can talk about the position and, go from there. So we will help you through the whole process too, as usual.
And I think that level of kind of preparation before they even meet with somebody from WFI helps, and it gets them used to, hey, this is the interview process. This is what to expect. Helps them get their ducks in a row in terms of their application materials. And, I think that's an advantage to the way Hire Military approaches skill bridges in general. So we like to provide a good level of support for that service member so that they're comfortable and not walking into an interview process that might, be scary. It might be the first time they've ever interviewed for a company. So,
right. And then we like to have that conversation because we might be your first time ever doing it coming out of the military.
Right.
We do all have military backgrounds of some sort, military spouses, veterans, we're kind of that gambit of people, but we are that civilian, your first civilian touch out of that. And then having that conversation, we hope to kind of alleviate some of the pressure that you might feel, the anxiety about it before we send you off into that, very first interview for a position that might set you up for your future.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I can, Mindy and Chelsea and Mike, they're all excellent people. They're not there to, Mike might try to scare you away, and he knows that, but everybody is there to help you suss out, like, hey, is this the right opportunity for me? This is what it would look like to be a cohort member, and they're all here to help you through the process. And they've been an excellent employer partner. So can't say enough about that. But Nate, I want to kind of start to wrap up in the sense of, from a SkillBridge intern to another SkillBridge intern, what would be your word of advice to somebody that's considering SkillBridge in general, and even maybe this particular internship?
For SkillBridge in general, if I had a word of wisdom, don't wait. There's that 180-day window where, it's in the regulation, you can start this out, but please start doing your research far in advance. Get with companies like Hire Military, see what's out there, see what's available, because what's available at this moment isn't what's going to be available next week. There may not be an opportunity now that fits you, but it may fit. There may be one in 2 months when you're ready to transition. But you're not going to be prepared for that if you wait till the last minute. You're going to be grasping at straws for whatever's available at that moment in time. As far as Workforce Insight, this is just an amazing opportunity. If you really want to be challenged, if you really want to continually grow and have a skill set where you're constantly having to learn and push yourself to rise to the next level, this is it. And if you want the opportunity to work remotely and spend time with your family, this is also it. I have not spent this much time with my family in years. They may or may not like that, but I am home a lot more often, and it's great. So all that combined, I couldn't say enough about how great this has been.
That's awesome. I love the fact that you talked about preparing early, because I think a lot of service members, and that's sort of a rock and a hard place battle structurally, is that sometimes a service member doesn't know about SkillBridge or the opportunity to do one until they're right up against their transition timeline. And so, that's our mission, is to get the word out. But the service member side of it is, if you know about SkillBridge and are in any way interested, prepare early as possible. Even if you're a year or even further out, you can start at least thinking about what industries and roles you want to be in. Start building your presence online, get your LinkedIn profile going, network with folks. Like there's a lot, and this is just one small part of your transition. Remember, so it seems overwhelming, but if you attack it in pieces and take it one day at a time, I promise you, there are people out there that want to help. So that's my little soapbox. But Brandy, I'll finish here with you. One quick note, I do want to plug it in there. If you're interested, I know I've seen a bunch of comments flying through. If you're interested, let us know in the comments, and we will reach out to you. But to finish up, Brandy, if I have questions, I don't know what to do next. I don't know who to talk to. Who do I reach out to?
So you're going to reach out to me. So I am your point of contact for this SkillBridge. If we're connected on LinkedIn, send me a message. If we're not, send me a request, and please put a little note in there that you're looking for WFI. It just has to be the simplest little note, so I know how to follow up with you. And then we can go from there. I can send you some information about the program, the cohort, and then, talk you through it and see if that's your next step. I do want to reiterate, this is for currently transitioning service members who have a SkillBridge window that allow them to start on 24 January for 12 weeks. So unfortunately, it's not for veterans or military spouses. This is just for transitioning service members in that SkillBridge window kind of right now.
Sure.
Just about.
That's a great point. And I know, with previous cohorts, when we were announcing it and recruiting, people will tell us, okay, well, let us, this particular one doesn't work. Let me know when the next one is, and so it keeps going in that sense. If this particular one doesn't work out in your timeline right now, consider it in the future, for future cohorts like that. So.
And I do have a list of follow-up names already for later on. So, if we get more cohorts, then I have names I'm going to follow up with people. So, but yes, I just needed to reiterate that it is for current transitioning service members. And with that start date of January 24th, I know that Air Force, you have about 4 weeks to get your paperwork done. So we're trying to get you in as fast as we can, get you applied and interviewed so we can help you with that paperwork, because we do help you with all of that SCOBRG paperwork. So if you're interested, please reach out and send me a note and let's get talking.
Good deal. Well, I want to thank again all three of you for being on board with me today and for spending some time. I think this is a really great opportunity for folks to see not only who the company is and faces to names like that, but to get the perspective of a currently transitioning service member. So thank you for being here. And with that,
for having me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a fun time, and we enjoy reaching out to service members, and we really enjoy being live with folks. So until then, we're here almost every week, if not every week. So stay tuned. We'll be back next week with something else, and take care until then. So we'll see you later.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.